was Living Letters, the paraphrased epistles. Now this is a choice of mine, because I've now read this book. What it is really a translation of the Scriptures. I've read it a number of times. I should say that it has done more to help me to understand the New Testament than any single thing I've ever had, because it's written just like a newspaper. You read the book of Romans just as you would a newspaper. It's written in modern, everyday language. I want to send it to you free.
So Billy Graham did print 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, eventually 600,000 copies of Living Letters, and that really put Living Letters on the map in a significant way. So Tyndale House gained enough momentum that my father decided in October of 1963 that he could resign from his job at Moody and devote full-time to his little company, Tyndale House Publishers. It was about that time that my father moved the Tyndale shipping facilities into a garage that he bought from a defunct railroad. That fall, 1963, my dad also launched another product he had dreamed about for many years, a magazine called The Christian Reader. In addition to marketing efforts for Living Letters and The Christian Reader, my father continued his translation work with other portions of the Bible, and Tyndale's second book in 1965 was called Living Prophecies. Perhaps none of you know Bob Hawkins, who joined our company in 1966. At this point, the company was 4 years old, and Bob would later become the founder of Harvest House Publishers, which you know. In 1966, we published our first trade book, Spirit Controlled Temperament, by Tim LaHaye. That title is still in print 46 years later, and we have sold more than 1 million copies. And as you know, we've published many other books by Tim LaHaye, including the wildly successful Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins. In 1967, Tyndale House bought a building in Carroll Stream just north of Wheaton, and that would be our corporate headquarters for the next 23 years. 3 years later, in 1970, Tyndale House launched 3 very important products all in 1 year. Dare to Discipline, which was Dr. James Dobson's first book, and over the next 40 years, we would publish numerous other titles by Dr. Dobson, with sales exceeding 10 million copies. Also, Evangelism Explosion by Dr. James Kennedy. This book has now sold more than 1.4 million copies. And Taylor's Bible Storybook with artwork by Richard and Francis Hook, the first of our many devotional books for young families. In 1971, the Complete Living Bible was published, and it became the best-selling book in America for the next 3 years. Now I'm going to give you a quick sampling of what has happened since then, just running through some of the highlights. 1975, we published Hind's Feet on High Places by Hannah Hurnard. 1977, More Than a Carpenter by Josh McDowell. That book has sold more than 10 million copies. The Strong-Willed Child by Jim Dobson. The Book, published in conjunction with Christian Broadcasting Network. The 1 Year Bible, compiled by Ken Taylor. The Holiness of God by R.C. Sproul, 1985. 1986, Doorposts by our own art director, Timothy Botts. 1988, The Life Application Bible, written by editors of Youth for Christ. The first edition of the Life Application Bible used the text of the Living Bible, and in the years since then, we've brought out Life Application Study Bibles in the King James Version, New King James, New International Version, New Revised Standard Version, New American Standard Bible, and of course the New Living Translation, which is our primary Bible translation today. 1989, My First Bible in Pictures by Ken Taylor. 1989, the McGee and Me video series. That same year, or 1990, we built our current headquarters building in Carroll Stream. 1991, we published The Rise of Babylon by Charles Dyer and Angela Hunt. 1993, A Voice in the Wind, the first of our many novels by Francine Rivers. 1993, When God Doesn't Make Sense by Jim Dobson. 1995, Left Behind, the first of a series that would sell 64 million copies through the years. 1996, the New Living Translation of the Bible. 1999, How Now Shall We Live, by Chuck Colson, who died just a few weeks ago. 2002, Let's Roll, by Lisa Beamer and Ken Abraham. 2004, A Major Book About Heaven, by Randy Alcorn. 2005, The Ezekiel Option, the first of our novels published by Joel Rosenberg. 2005 was a year that my father died at the age of 88, and he left behind a rich legacy of ministry and stewardship. Moving on since then, 2007, Quiet Strength by Coach Tony Dungy. 2008, the NLT Study Bible. 2010, So Long Insecurity by Beth Moore. Also in 2010, The Boy Who Came Back from Heaven by Kevin and Alex Malarkey. And also in 2010, our Spanish Bible translation, the Nueva Traducción Viviente. So that gives you just a very brief overview of some of the key products that we published during these 50 years. Now, going all the way back to Living Letters and the Living Bible, Ken Taylor gave all of the royalties from the Bible products to Tyndale House Foundation. And in the year 2000, Ken and Margaret Taylor, my parents, transferred ownership of the company itself to the foundation. Through the years, the foundation has made grants to many other ministries totaling 76 million US dollars. But when you adjust for inflation, it comes to about 170 million US dollars. So that's just a very quick overview of what's been going on at Tyndale House for 50 years. Now let me ask, does any of you work for an organization that is older